Greetings sailors and welcome to a quick video I am bashing out on Le Terrible, which has come out today. And it's come out in a state that I don't think any of the CCs, at least any of the English speaking ones, is particularly happy with. I don't know, maybe on the RU side they're all absolutely raving about how they love it and it's amazing, but I doubt it somehow. I didn't cover this with the last round of testing we had because I didn't think it was going to be the last round of testing. I didn't think there was any way the ship was going to come out in the state that it has. But no, here we are. Why am I being so down on it? Well, look at the consumables. You've got the main battery reload booster, which they actually nerfed a bit. It went from like 75% reduction in reload to 50%. It's still capable of whacking out a fair bit of DPM. But that's only really useful at close ranges because this does not have Soviet arcs on its guns at all. The shells, I mean, they're not anything as bad as US destroyers. I think they're even better than the British destroyers, but they're definitely not Soviet destroyer guns by any measure of the imagination. So you have to be reasonably close range, and if you're close range and you get a broadside enemy destroyer, or hell, even if you were up against like a Fiji or an Edinburgh or something like that, and they were broadside, and you got to use your AP shells. I said AP guns there, that would have not made sense. Then, yes, absolutely, it's really useful. You also get the speed boost, which, I mean, with the Sierra Mike flag, you're already really damn fast. With a speed boost, it gets completely nutty. But for some reason, Wargaming has in their mind that the speed boost is going to make up for A, not having a smoke, and B, not having a heal. And it's not like it needs both of those things. One or the other would be good. In fact, you could have a slot that has a choice of both, or even just give it a heal. But yeah, as it is, no, you're basically going to run out of hit points at some point. And my feedback, along with the feedback of everybody else, was that, well, if you're going to have a smokeless version of this, then it needs a heal. But it doesn't. You know what does have both a heal and a smoke at tier 8 and is also a premium? The Kid. There is basically no reason to buy this when you can buy the Kid. If you absolutely are... If you must have the most challenging to play destroyer possible, then this is the ship for you. But for 30 quid, I would not buy this. I didn't buy it, by the way. This is me having been gifted it by Wargaming, because they, with some of the new ships, they gift us these things. So I came out hoping to get a bit closer to the Richelieu, to maybe get within torpedo range. 8-kilometer torps, it's usable. But no, found a Harugamo, which was about the worst possible thing I could find, and having repaired my engine once, then got set on fire and could not stealth up again, at which point I was just dead. And I think the only other ship that could have happened in at tier 8 is the Kagero with the torpedo booster instead of smoke. But even then, that would have been... Oh god, what's the Kagero's surface stealth? I shall look this up. Okay, so it's about 5.5 kilometers. I would have outspotted the Harugamo before they spotted me. So you can see the problem here. There's no way of breaking engagement if you're spotted. You don't have good concealment. And so it really inhibits what you can do. I think the only real way to sensibly play Le Terrible as it is at the moment is take a smoke buddy. In fact, hell, take somebody near Benson that has defensive AA. Because the other thing that this really doesn't have anything going for it with is anti-air. It has about kind of tier 5 levels of AA. And if there's a carrier in the game, and so far both games I've played with this have had carriers, they can just keep you perma-spotted. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't break contact. You literally just have to dive for friendly AA and hope that they can deal with it, and hope that your carrier isn't terrible, as happened in the first game where I played, where it was like an Enterprise versus a Lexington, and the Lexington got fairly well owned, and so I just basically had fighters perma-spotting me for the entire latter half of the match. So that was fun. So yeah, if you want an extreme challenge, then by all means buy Letteribler, but when the kid exists, there is no reason to buy this. None at all. I mean, the only other French destroyer in the game at the moment is Aigler, and that is a better experience than this. If you want to train up some French destroyer captains for whenever those appear, get that. Letteribler, I mean, you can't even, with a 19-point captain, you can't even get enough skills to patch up the holes. I don't even know how many captain points you would have to patch up the holes, but it's going to be a lot of captain points. So yeah, it basically needs its own dedicated, highly skilled captain to even begin to compensate for some of the issues it has. Because without a heal, it just has no survivability, and I would be okay with it if it had a heal, if it came out as is and had a decent heal, but with no smoke. Between the speed and the heal, you could actually stay alive long enough to have some kind of impact. But at the moment, no, it doesn't have either, and so all that happens is you take an unlucky salvo from a cruiser or even a battleship. You know, battleship AP will mess you up good. And that's it, that's your game. You don't really then have the stealth to do anything particularly. You might, if you are unmolested, be able to make some torpedo drops from that point, but your guns are, you know, useless at that stage, unless you can borrow somebody else's smoke. And if there's a carrier in play, or there are lots of spotter planes about, then that kind of nobbles that on the head. And of course, you know, being a tier 8, it's going to see a lot of tier 10s, it's going to see a lot of radar. So I don't really know what Wargaming was thinking putting this out. I really hope it gets a heal at some point, and if it does, it would be worth picking up as an interesting ship at that point. Something that's fast but has some survivability. But at the moment, no. With the extremely limited nature of a destroyer hit point pool, even with survivability expert, it just absolutely is not worth what they're asking for it. So, Letteribler, which has come out in a rather unfortunate state. Oh well. Most of the premiums that Wargaming has been putting out recently have actually been, you know, reasonably decent, reasonably balanced, and some of the upcoming ones are reasonably decent or reasonably balanced, apart from Vanguard. Vanguard definitely needs fixed as well, but for some reason Letteribler has come out as it has, so yeah, that's a bit unfortunate really. Anyway, hopefully you found this little PSA useful. If you did, you can do all the usual things down underneath the video. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more.